Evening all, so here we go, some kicking dust. Now this is going to be a massive tank swarm, but before I do this, let me just maybe make something clear. A few people have maybe misunderstood my previous rantings. I do these videos because I see myself very much as a critic. A critic to me is somebody who has no interest. I don't get paid by CCP, I'm not on their books, I am a critic of their products, and I do see myself very separate from anything they there's no party line, and I'm not a SICA fan. This is the thing I think people maybe forget is, my early videos have been very praiseful of Dust, and I still am. It's still a fantastic game, but I'm in no way a SICA fan around what we do. I think it's important to make that clarification because I think a lot of people have maybe seen my little rant about Moonship as something quote unprofessional. Well, we're not professionals. I mean, I don't think any YouTuber really technically is actually classed as a professional. If you make money from it, then it is your profession, then you are a professional, then fair enough. But this this is not my job. I do this for hobby, and I think it's just one of these kind of things that I think a lot of people maybe think that in some way or another I'm going to sit here and cheerlead for CCP. It was a wrong decision to put Moonship in that role. She hasn't even played Dust before. I think she tenuously even played Eve. So why they did this, I don't know. This is the frustration I think I have, is that, again, let's just maybe take a step back. People only get emotional is the wrong word. People only get, I guess, heated and excited about something that they're passionate about. And I'm certainly passionate about Dust. This is a fantastic game, and I love CCP's products. And but I'm going to always be quite critical of them. And remember, critical doesn't mean negative. Critical means you're going to appraise independently. And I think that's really all I try and do with these videos, is say, well, this is good, this is bad, blah blah blah. At no point will I ever cheerlead for CCP or Dust or Eve, because if something's crap, I will say it's crap. And I think a lot of people are not doing that. I guess they are coveting some kind of future, fairy tale job with CCP or something like that. Trust me, that is not me. I am not. That's not me. That's not me at all. And I just find it incredible that so many people have been quite surprised actually at my outburst. But I must admit, out of that video, I think we've only got 3 dislikes and something like 100 and something likes. So I think the community is above the game. This is something to bear in mind. The community is not owned by the game developer. That is something I think is really worth stating, because the community of any game, any experience, any film, any genre is actually owned by the community. So it's the community that have effectively the voice of that community. And I think CCP obviously own the product, and they own the marketing rights behind it, but I just feel that they maybe they understand their market better than maybe I do, coming from maybe an Eve point of view. From my point of view, Moonship is just a terrible choice. For Eve, fine. If she'd have been a community rep for something in Eve, who would have cared? I wouldn't have even, given a crap, to be honest. But the fact that she's literally been put in to be a community rep for Dust, having never played it, not understanding it, not being involved with the development of it, only really just coming on board now as a kind of, and again, I state this from a simple point of fact, without any game making experience, without any community management experience other than her YouTube channel, which is what it is, then she's not fit for purpose. I mean, again, I'm being kind of critical of her, but again, it's only because that's kind of the point. On paper, it doesn't add up, and I do hate it again when companies just assume that they can make a kind of cheap move. Oh well, let's just get so and so, let's employ them for X, and then maybe they'll do Y, and we might get a few more hits. Just annoys me, and I think this is something that I think bothers me to a point where I'm just disappointed with CCP. I took a look at the Destiny trailer last night, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was a multi-social media game where you basically would have interaction with all the social tools. You would have your phone would develop. You would actually be sort of text parts of the story. I mean, it was another level beyond anything I've seen before. And I think when you've got that, and also it looks a bloody good game. So when you've got that kind of, of position being, built, I'm just staggered that CCP are being so flippant with it by basically just recruiting yet again somebody from the community who I'm sure has credentials and I'm sure will actually do an okay job, all things being said, but it just feels a cheap move. And I think, I don't have any beef with Minship. To be honest, I think I've ever watched one of the videos and just couldn't again, because that's not my thing. I mean, I don't. That's as a man, I don't quite understand the whole kind of. I don't get what that was about. Anyway, I'm not going to spurge any more about this. I just think it's, it does annoy me when people think that we're stupid, when we're a collection of wallets ready to be opened. That does bother me. You have to earn your player base and you have to earn your community. And I think the community at the moment, it's an interesting one actually when you look at the forum, which is always a dangerous thing to do because it just seems that people moan about anything. And, I'm just staggered what people are actually gutted about. TAC ARs, bothered about the laser. What was the one last night? Oh, all the LAV posts. They're hilarious. But I get it. I mean, people are obviously annoyed. But I think sometimes, a lot of the noise that we generate is probably quite whiny. And I get that. I totally get that, in fact. And I think it's, you have to be critical in your approach to these things. This is a life lesson, I guess, but you have to be critical of stuff in a structured way. You can't just say, oh, the TAC AR's crap, I can't, fuck this game, I don't want to play anymore. You can't be like that. You have to be critical in your negativity. And I feel I have been certainly that in topics that I've come across, because by and large, this is a great game. I think by and large, CCP are a fantastic company, and I feel that they have a real platform to build on here. I think my concern is that the competition is looking quite scary. There is a lot of quite exceptional stuff coming down the pipe now that does look very. It looks like a kind of genre change, because this is the thing. There's this kind of thing where the rate of change outside the company has to be, less than inside the company. Otherwise, you're just going to get left behind, and that's a fascinating thing, because I think games like this with Dust and even just the engine they're using, people are saying it's a bit old hat. There's a little bit of it's quite limited. It looks a bit maybe sort of 5 years ago, and that was certainly my initial review of this was. It's a great game, but it looks quite old. It feels old already. Now, this is because, again, it was a beta, and there's still a lot to do. I think what people are waiting for, and again, I hope CCP understand this, but the majority of what people seem to be waiting for with this game is other stuff. It's not really the stuff in the game right now. We've done that, we've seen it, and it's getting a bit repetitive. People are actually hanging around because of the suits, because of the M-tanks, because of the fighters, because of the different play modes, because of maybe one day we might be boarding a Titan and running through a corridor with shotguns. That is what people are waiting for. And I feel that that's really, I think, the reason why a lot of people are still here. So I think it's going to be a tricky one, because when you look at some of the other games that are kind of coming down the pipeline, I still think Dust is way up there. It's a phenomenally clever and inventive game, but all of the I guess the innovation and inventiveness is still yet to come in reality. So that's, I think, maybe a negative about that. But I'm sticking with that. People obviously, I've had loads of messages telling me not to leave. I'm not going anywhere, but I am going to play other games, and I'm going to be critical of everything I do, because again, this is to me is a hobby, and I think you have to, you play your precious time, your free time is precious, and I hate this kind of feeling that game companies and such are a bit kind of flippant with your free time, and you as a community, your buying power is literally what every company is fighting for. and I feel that you know, Dust do an incredibly CCP do an incredibly good job on keeping you as a community, I think, serviced as best they can. You know, certainly better than PlanetSide, certainly better than pretty much any game I think I've ever played. Actually, they really do try, which is a rarity, I must admit. You know, I think they're quite genuine in what they do. I think in recruiting a Minch it was a genuine move, but maybe I don't feel that. I think they've quite understood the drama that maybe she brings. So you can't fault them for that, and I don't. You know, I mean, this is the thing. You know, this is why when people are saying to me, "Oh, you're going to go and play PlanetSide 2?" Well, yeah, I am, but only because, you know, I haven't played it for a while. I can tell you now it's going to suck, and I can tell you now it's going to be a beautiful, you know, clean, crisp game that has the depth of a pond. You know, it's going to be crap, and it doesn't have that kind of feeling of immersion and that importance of the economy. So, to me, I just get the impression that you know, the CCP are doing a good job as best they can, and I feel that, you know, they will make bad choices, but I don't feel as a community that we should ever forgive those choices. You should question them. You know, you're well within your rights and entitled to actually have a voice in the community of the game that you are playing. And it's like anything. If you buy a car, if you watch a film, or if you know, if you buy a service of any kind, you know, your money entitles you, your purchase entitles you to have an opinion on that service. And I think, you know, don't ever forget that. That's true of everything in life. You know, if you're paying for something, you're entitled to be critical of it if you feel that you've not got a service, or conversely, if you feel that you've had a good service, you should make that also aware, because again, a lot of the time I think we're very quick to kind of say when something's bad, but we rarely say if something's good. So again, you should be sort of saying, I like this, let's have some more of this. So in this example, we've got a tank swarm. Yes, that's right, 7 tanks. I don't know if you can see, count them all if you can, but managed to somehow have them all alive currently. But we basically just spammed tanks, and it was, I've got to admit, it was actually a real blast, because there is something I think quite scary about tanks. When you see a tank coming, you're pretty scared, but when you see 7 coming, you pretty much run to get the AV fits. But again, one AV soldier, unless you've got a very good forge gun, but then even then, if you've got a good forge gun, you know, to have 7 tanks bearing down on you, mostly with blaster turrets, is going to be a bad time. So I always quite like that. Let's talk about some of the game stuff now. So I think certainly one of the things we're seeing a lot of is people are running domination quite a lot. And domination to me is a good kind of general map now. I think if you fancy just dropping into a game where you know you're going to get a good fight, bit of a mix between, I guess, skirmish and ambush, domination is certainly that, because there's a lovely you know, there's only one objective, so there's a lovely kind of critical mass of people, and I find that really quite enjoyable. More than skirmish, which is generally just kind of run around capturing the points. You know, you can actually go the whole map not really seeing another opponent, capturing points. And that's actually what I'm doing lately, as I'm getting away with being a cheeky scout. But I think that we do need some more game modes. I think maybe also we do need that kind of ability to do testing. Not necessarily court battles, maybe just some ability to fire a gun and see what it feels like, maybe the ability to get into a tank and drive it around. I don't know, I mean, it's all stuff that I guess, you know, it's difficult to do with an economy, because they don't want to give you free stuff, nor should they, because that's obviously a game breaker. But I think maybe the answer is bringing back court battles. We used to love court battles, because you get, I mean, everybody gets this. You get to a point where you've played for a while, a couple of hours tops, you know, and you're sort of thinking to yourself, oh, I'm bored. Oh yeah, no, I'm kind of sick of this now. You know, same maps, same 5 maps all the time, and it's like you get to the point where you think to yourself, do you know what? I'd love to just arse around, or I'd love to just get an LAV in and do jumps, or I'd love to get a dropship and just absolutely tear around the map. Well, that's where court battles to me were absolutely brilliant, because the whole point of a court battle is that you can just do what you want. And some of the videos we did a long time ago, I don't know if you've seen them, hope you have. One of the training grounds one was, to me, just epic, because it was just so much fun, just having the corp in, seeing what we could do, you know, the energy and the almost the way that everybody was just laughing their balls off was great, because again, it was just a laugh. It was funny, you know. We were just basically losing dropships like crazy, we were losing tanks like crazy, and that's kind of the fun of it, because again, a lot of the time it's not about, you know, cat strike running a map round one next round. It's sometimes, I mean, again, this is where I think the whole MCC sniping discussion has come from, in that, you know, a lot of people literally are still playing this game properly, which is good, don't get me wrong. But we're treating it a little bit more as maybe as a sandbox, because there will be rounds where we've run, you know, 5 or 6 rounds in a row, and we'll think to ourselves, right, let's just forge gun from a tower. Let's just go and snipe from here. Let's go and, you know, let's just go and run around in shotgun suits. You know, we generally are at that phase now where winning and losing doesn't really matter. I mean, I think that's a really key thing to remember, is that after a while, none of it really matters. So I think this is maybe the detractor, I would say, because this is also the bit in PlanetSide that gets boring after a while. After you've captured the same base like 4 or 5 times and you've fought and defended it, or you've fought and lost it, when you see that it's up again, your immediate reaction is, oh, not that again. You just get so bored of it over and over. So it's worth considering that I think we need some more game modes that perhaps are a bit more challenging, maybe something with a bit more, you know, kind of, I don't know, just you know, just a little bit different. Maybe something just silly, like maybe a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-2 or something like that, or a very small squad. Maybe a map with 6 people in max, so it's literally 1 squad versus 1 squad, and maybe that's the entry requirement, is you need a squad. That would be cool. Maybe an attack and defend style one, but you know, more than domination is at the moment. See, again, we're kind of coming back to all the things that we want to see. You know, this is maybe an issue with the game, and any game, is that what we're actually kind of, you know, sticking around for is the stuff that's not there yet, and it's all the ideas that may come. And this is why I think CCP have no real kind of clearly defined roadmap for this product. I could be wrong. If you know of a roadmap, please link me to it, because again, I'm no IT expert, but I do understand that when you develop an IT product, you surely have some form of, you know, development roadmap that says, over the next 6 months, this is what we'll do. Over the next year, this is it. Over the next 2 years, and so on. I'm sure they have one, but it's hidden. But again, I would probably say that that's maybe an issue. Maybe they need to do a public roadmap that says, look, you know, we're not promising, but maybe in the next 6 months you'll get fighters. Maybe in the next 12 months, I'm afraid it will be before you actually maybe walk around the war barge. It's stuff like that I think actually is probably quite helpful. I suspect they don't do this because maybe they actually are unable to keep to them, which again is perfectly normal. I'm aware of that as a problem, but again, I think it maybe will help the community somewhat, in that maybe we can see, you know, what's kind of coming. I think I guess we're our own worst enemy in a way, because by not having X or Y, you know, that we really want, when it doesn't come, we bitch and moan. And you have to bear in mind, every bitch and moan on the forum is, you know, a forum is a public place, so obviously people are seeing that who could be potential customers. And I think I went to the PlanetSide forum a while back to actually look at, you know, what was going on. And I went to the most negative thread I've ever seen in my life, and it actually put me off going back to PlanetSide 2. So that tells you the power of a forum. So this is why, you know, I mean, if people are shitposting on purpose, then that sucks. But I guess, you know, what can you do? You know, it's one of these things where, you know, the game is good, you know, everybody's enjoying it, but I think we're getting a bit fatigued from it now. So I think the only thing that's really keeping us there is the promise of new things. Anyway, there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, Tank Swarm is an amazing tactic. Just get your militia tanks, just drop them in, and you'll lose them all, but you'll have an absolute riot, and you'll probably be positive on the ISK front as you go. So it's well worth doing. So let's have a final conversation. We've still got our website. Our website is now up, squadbme.com, twitter.com/Pyrex, and Facebook, like.squadb. If you fancy taking 2 seconds out of your time and going and liking us on Facebook and subscribing to our Twitter feed, I will shower love upon you. But hopefully you like that. And again, you know, please understand, I'm not being, you know, sort of sycophantic with anything I do here, and I never will be. I will always be critical of everything that I play. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.